What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Elite Dangerous. When we left off in the last episode, we had actually made it to Herschel, which has been our target point for quite some time now. And arguably about a quarter or a halfway point marker, probably. Couple of things I wanted to go over. First, I had a couple of people asking me about, like, opening up the system map more often to look at the actual systems that we're visiting. I don't mind doing that from time to time, like at the end of the episode when we reach our destination, but I don't want to open it every little time we make a jump because it would just take us longer than it already is. But I don't mind, like, at destination points going over some stuff, though some of this is just so far away, like 3,000, that I'm not going to bother scanning them. Like, even the closest one here is 420 light seconds, which is, it's still going to take me a decent minute to get that far out. And I'd rather just jump onto the next thing. One big thing, though, we have our new target point we set at the end of the last episode. So let's go ahead and plot the route. But, wait a minute, that can't be right. Am I on economic? Fastest. How is it I can make that? Wait, that's only 175. That's not... That doesn't make any sense. Hold up. Huh? What did I do? I thought I set up the marker last episode. Did I not? Pretty sure I did. That's 202. Okay. Oh, wait, no, that was the first fueling. Okay, that was my first fueling point. Never mind. That makes way more sense. Okay. I was like, hold on. What happened here? Alright, so we're trying to find something that's a decent clip away. But I'll show you an interesting thing that I learned through the comments between the last episode, and that is setting the filter mode for stars. I forgot that you could even do that. I must have done it at some point because the filters are properly set up the way I want them. That looks kind of fun. What kind of star are you? Doesn't tell me exactly, but it is scoopable. So we'll keep that one in mind. Was that 910? We haven't done a red star in a while. Maybe we should look at one of those. 973, 985. What about you? Oh, you're a little too far. Where's a good one? This might be cool. There's like 3. I don't know if you could visibly see them or not, but there's like 3 right next to each other. None of them are scoopable, however. That's depressing. I wonder if it's, I wonder if there's a color variation to it. Where, like, if they're these darker red, they're not scoopable. Or something. I don't know. That's kind of odd. I mean, I am kind of seeing this pattern, though. They all seem to be Y or T. I'm not seeing any that can be scooped. That one looks awful bright. T again. Well, I was trying to mix it up. Let's target that one for now, and we'll plot out our route. Now, at the moment, it's set for a realistic map setting. But, is this ever going to calculate? It's like an actual GPS. If you tab over to map, though, is where the fun actually shows up, because I apparently figured this out at some point, or was told, because I have it set to the scoopable stars. So this will basically show us what stars are scoopable along the route that we're taking. So And this would also come in handy when you're looking at your own route, because you can just look at them and go, yep, that one's scoopable, yep, that one's scoopable, you know, so that's pretty cool. I totally did not remember you could do that. Geez, where's my fuel line? Okay, so at the moment... Ooh, that's kind of interesting. What are you? White yellow star. At the moment, we can go all the way out to the edge of our route and be fine. So that's cool. But yeah, I totally forgot about that ability to do that. So let's get to going here.
Frameshift drive charging.
I know that kind of took a couple of minutes to kind of get going, but whatever. It hasn't been too terrible to get to the edge of our routes when we stop trying to scan all the stars and everything.
4, 3, 2, 1.
But I really wish... See, here's the thing. There's a couple different things we could do to speed this along. I just don't know if it would actually be worth the time and effort. And maybe that's something for those of you out there that have actually done it can tell me as far as if it's actually worth it. But currently, let's see, where's inventory? There are abilities to do... that's munitions. Where is... FSD injection, there we go. So you can do... basically doubled distance if you had these ingredients and decided to jump to them. Or not to them, but with them. Use the injector to boost your frameshift drive. But for me, it's the time that it takes to go through all that. That's what I don't know, if it would be any more efficient to do. Is it worth the time to actually go through and land on the planets and look through the materials and gather ingredients and all that kind of stuff versus the benefit of being able to jump twice as far. And it very well could be, like I said, I don't know. I never really played around with it all that much, so it never really was much of a topic, but that's definitely an avenue we could explore, though, if everyone was like, oh yeah, it's totally worth it, then we could make an episode out of, like, or two, whatever it takes, out of gathering up some ingredients on some of these planets. Because as we get closer and closer to the core, where star density starts increasing, system density starts increasing, things like that, I'm sure there's a lot of places that can be landed on and things like that within, even if you have like a planet within a star system, there's just enough star systems available. I'm sure you can find what you need. It really comes down to whether or not it's actually worth it. That was funny. I discovered 5. That's a bright red star, by the way. I'm not saying that's the name of it. I mean, like, that just kind of startled me a little bit. That was like very, very potent of a star. It's pretty cool. You don't get a ton of star variety. Again, I think that's mainly because of Frontier's decision to make Elite a bit more based on realism, even though it's in the sci-fi world. But because it's somewhat based on realistic science and things like that, you don't get like all the different, oh, there's a star that's, you know, black with some kind of weird things growing on it. No, because it's a star. You know what I mean? So they kind of stuck to the rules per se, and so it's not quite as like, I don't know, Star Trek or Star Wars or those where it's like you just made up crap and there was just these weird anomalies they'd encounter and things like that. I mean, they did keep like black holes and things like that in there, but when you base it more on realism versus the fiction, you're kind of a little bit more limited. You can't just make up whatever you want because it sounds cool, as opposed to stuff like that. That I personally have always been a fan of stuff where you started on realism and then just kind of went your own way with it. And to some extent, most any sci-fi game or movie or whatever kind of does that. in a way. But some, like Elite more than others, try to focus more on what would our science and stuff take us to in the future, as opposed to just this is where we started from, but then let's just make it up from there. And so it's like some things are a little bit more entertaining, I guess, when you just kind of make it up, because then you're never really sure what you're going to get. I mean, I enjoy both. I really do like the world of Elite that feels more realistic. It doesn't feel quite so comic booky or something like that. It actually feels like something you could see happening in the future type of thing, which is cool. But like we were talking about with variety and things, there tends to be certain situations where that can be a little bit more of a hindrance than helpful. But you know, that's why there's multiple series, is so you can explore different different things. Okay, let's check the system map here, and then we'll work on plotting our next route. Now, a lot of people talk about finding Earth-like planets and stuff like that. I really don't know how to do that. I know there's audio cues that when you highlight these, they'll make different sounds depending on the kind of planet they are and stuff like that. Obviously, I guess Earth-likes would be unlandable because currently that function's not in the game, so that's another trigger, is it's like, you know, if you can land on it, it's probably not Earth-like because, well, you can't land on Earth.
Fuel scooping complete.
Yet. I think I might have accidentally set my target somewhere that I didn't want to do that. Okay. So let's find...
disengaged.
Let's find our next point of fuelage. Oh, sweet. So we're having another run it to the end. Oh. Need to make sure I set my target correctly, though. And just in case.
Frameshift
I think I honked already. Yep. Honestly, I know a lot of people said the honk the horn. That really sounds like the seismic charges from Episode 2 of Star Wars, actually. That's the first time I heard that. That's immediately what I thought of, was when they're in the asteroid field and Jango starts using the seismic charges. That's almost exactly what they sound like to me, with that, you know, flash of light, and then as the wave comes towards the screen, you get that boom. It's really kind of cool. Awesome sound effect. You know, I thought that was cool in the movie itself. Actually, it was really, really cool in the movie, because the first time you see it, you didn't know that was going to be a thing. And so you see this flash, and you're like, oh, that's weird, there's no sound. And then for a half a second, you're thinking maybe they're going to do realistic where there's no real sound in space, and then you get this, like, and of course in a theater, it's like, whoa. So that was kind of cool. I always liked that sound effect, though. Even if the movie was meh, but the sound effect, that was awesome. But it is kind of amazing to me how certain sound effects become kind of like staples because they're the first ones that did it, so now that's just the go-to sound effect for other series that they make similar. You don't, you know, not the same, but you tend to see series that make similar sounds to phasers or laser blasters or hyperdrives or warp drives, you know, and all the, and it's like, it does make you wonder, is it because shows and movies and stuff like that did it first? And so then that became the gold standard of like, this is just what a hyperdrive should sound like, or things like that. Or is it because great minds think alike and they came to the same conclusions as the creators of those series? That's always an interesting question, is it's like, is it because they heard it first, or is it because they came up with the same idea?
Fuel scooping. I
always find that one interesting.
Frameshift drive charging.
Let's see, how are we doing? 24 jumps left. We're actually making pretty good time. Probably because I'm not having to stop every 5 seconds and check to make sure I'm not over jumping my
3, 2,
fueling star. I will say though, you may end up off course. Like, you might have to veer off of your plotted route, but because the density of the stars is increasing, I really don't think I'd actually get stranded at this point. I mean, I definitely could surprise myself and be like, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Whoops. But at the same time, I really do wonder if there's just enough stars around that even if you couldn't make it to your next jump that's 30 light years away, I've got enough of a jump range on this. I should be able to jump 5 light years over and, you know, grab a star that can be fueled
3,
off of.
2, 1, engage.
So, I don't think there's really that much of a risk of being stranded per se. I kind of look at it and like want to make sure I have one on my route. But in an emergency situation, I don't think that would entirely be necessary, because I'm making like 30 light year jumps at a time, and you can see over here on the right how much fuel that's taking. So even like, say I jump here, and then the next one I can't actually make, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I miscalculated and I can't make it to the fueling star. That's a 30 light year jump though. So if I just jump like 2 light years over or something to the nearest scoopable, I should have more than enough to make that, basically, in order to refuel. So I don't think I'm too worried about the fuel, but we are so far out that I don't really want to risk it, because, you know, pretty much your only 2 options are either the rat patrol or whatever the fuel people are, or blowing yourself up with all of the data that I've accumulated thus far, which is just a horrible option. I mean, no, I'm not expecting to be a billionaire overnight because of some exploration data, but I've gotten a pretty good amount of data here along our little route here. Though I will admit I kind of shudder at the idea of going back, because, well, going back, ugh, I basically have to do all this all over again. Unless I'm really kind of pushing for, by the time I go to jump back, they'll have added some teleporter thing in the game. That's really what I'm hoping for. or maybe a bus, you know, that can pick up the pilot. Leave the ship but pick up the pilot or something. Costs you like 1,000,000 credits to go back, and then like you're there. That would be cool. Just give me a shuttle bus or something. Now that would be an interesting function to the game, actually. Okay, we have no scoopers along our route here. Okay. So, like this, I'm thinking second to the last one, and then we'll just jump over here. That's kind of what I'm thinking, and pick up some fuel. I could recalculate the course, but meh. That seems like too much work. I am going to bookmark that, though. And it's going to be before our last jump, so as our fuel starts looking kind of low. And let's pop open the system map real quick.
Disengaged.
Give ourselves a peek. Wow, okay. Either this isn't loading correctly, or all of these planets are very similar to each other. That's kind of weird. That's really kind of odd. Clone planets. Confirmed.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that, though. That would be an interesting... I don't know if I fully explained that thought, but that would be an interesting gameplay mechanic for a player, is the ability not just to go refuel them, but, like... If you were... Okay, so hypothetically, let's say we went to the center of the galaxy, and then we go back to, like, the Jacques station or whatever. but we didn't want to go all the way back. It would be interesting if you could actually charter passage on a player-controlled ship. That's what I was thinking about. Like, the ability to... well, that is another option. We could top off our fuel tank in any place that we can. We'll just run it this way. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that would be interesting if, like, you could post something on the board or whatever. It's like, need a ride back to Shinrarta or whatever. And I don't know how it would work, because it would rely on the other player, right? Like, you couldn't effectively really play the game, because you wouldn't have your ship or anything, until the other player brings you back and you could pick up your other ship at a station. So I'm not really sure how that would work, because, okay, like in a single player game, if it was an NPC service, well, and even this, if it was an NPC service where you could just charter a bus from, you know, one station to another, you could basically take it and calculate, like, okay, distance to this other station divided by, like, you know, 10 or something to cut down the time. So, like, getting back to Shinrarta would take, like, a couple hours. So you'd have to, like, log off or do whatever. But then when you come back on, you're at Shinrarta and, like, your whatever station has a ship for you or something. But if it were player-driven, that's the kink. That would be the part where I'm not really sure how you'd work everything out. Because if it were player-driven, it would rely on when the player actually got you back to whatever station you commissioned them to take you to. And in that regard, I don't know. I don't know how you would spin that. I think it would have to be an NPC service at that point, because I mean, unless you really just didn't want to do all the jumps and just wanted someone else to do it for you or whatever, but I'm just thinking, like, if they have something come up, you know, it's family emergency, and they, like, log off for a week, and then your pilot's still stuck in their ship, it just wouldn't work very well for those kinds of scenarios. But I think you could pull it off with an NPC service, though, where it's like it's taking you back and it'll be X amount of time, and effectively you probably could, like, look out the window and watch as you're going or something, but you could speed things up to where, like, it could just get you there faster. Or just hypothetically, it's piloting something with a huge jump radius, and so that you can't buy, like, something 3 times the size of an Anaconda that you can't purchase yet or something, and so its jump range is ridiculous, which is why it gets you there faster. Something like that explains it away would be fine, I think. But ultimately, I think it would have to be an NPC service, because I really just don't see a way you could do that with a player and account for all the contingencies of the other player, essentially. Alright, let's take a peek. Let's see where we're at. Haha! I timed it pretty close, actually. So let's just jump over here. Pick up some fuel. Yeah, see, like that. This is a 3.9 jump, and it's barely doing anything to my fuel bar. So we shouldn't ever really get super duper stranded, per se. Especially as the density of stars gets closer together, because effectively there should be some star around you at some point. You know, anytime you're upping the amount of stars, it should also be upping the chance of you encountering said stars. You know, or upping the chance of you getting the correct kind of star when there's just more stars around you. So it really shouldn't be harder to do that the closer we get.
Fuel scooping.
Because I actually read a post or a comment or article or something, I forget where it was from, about how some people were saying that it got very micromanaging of your route and stuff the closer you got to the core. And I always just kind of, like, scratched my head, like, wouldn't it make it easier? Because essentially you're basically having tons of stars around you that are really quick to... They're easy to get to, basically. Now, did this mess up my route? It did. You suck. Okay. Well, then I might as well have recalculated the route anyway. Oh, poo. I didn't bookmark it. Crap. Well, guess we're not going to the same place.
Fuel scooping complete.
Well, that sucks. I did not bookmark my route. Alright, well apparently that's a thing I need to do from now on. Just bookmark the route. Didn't know this. By route I mean destination. I don't know if that was being conveyed properly or not. Okay, this is still too far out. This is like 1300. Now this would actually be interesting because technically speaking I'm actually upping the distance if I go right to the edge again. Because before, I mean, we'd already been kind of like halfway there. But I honestly just don't remember where I'd set the route, so I figured I'll just set another one. It's not like we don't have distance we need to cover or anything. Yeah, all these red stars. I kind of wanted to go to a red one or something just for a little bit of diversity, but all these red ones are like Y's and T's and stuff. I can't find one that matches the scoop type. That's odd. Very odd indeed. How about you? Yeah, that'll work. Alright, let's bookmark that. There we go. That'll work. So yeah, this is we're probably not going to actually reach a destination point at this point then, because I failed to keep track of my route properly. Okay, so let's actually select this one, and we'll plot a route there. There we go. Let's do that. See how that works out. Because then effectively, when we get where we're going, I'll basically just plot another route back to it and see what it comes up with. Because I didn't know that if you just jump to another system, that it would actually overwrite your route. That was something I did not actually realize. So that's a little bit of my bad, but I'd never encountered that before, so I didn't know it would do that. But yeah, that's interesting, because I'll have to keep that in mind now, that when we go somewhere, I'll need to bookmark the destination point so I can make sure to reroute there if I have to change course. I kind of just assumed you would just pick a different course or a different destination, jump there, and then the line would like reconnect back to the next point that you hadn't reached yet, kind of deal. So that was a little surprising that it doesn't compensate for that, and it just completely destroys the route for you. That was a little weird. But oh well, live and learn, and get loves. But yeah, this way, once we actually get to our destination point, then I'll just recalculate it back to our original, well, our new one now. Because we're probably close to our original target already. Because our original target was like 900 light years. We've refueled twice, which is usually every 300 or so. Or less. So we've probably gone about 4 or 5? Or no, probably close to 6, maybe. That would make sense, because usually somewhere around the 35-40 minute mark I'm usually close to my destination now that we're moving a little quicker.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop.
Now, I don't know about that either. I don't know if I should be waiting to recalculate my trajectory until I'm actually closing in on running out of fuel, because what I should... Okay, so this is probably what I'll do from now on. And we'll test this theory after we get to our current point that's only like 3 jumps away. So here's what I'm thinking. If at the end of the route, where you run out of fuel, the star can be refueled on, then I'll probably just do what I always do and run to the end. If, however, you get to the end point and there isn't a refuel spot, I will probably look around to make sure there is one, but then along our route, I'll just keep refueling, basically. And then, when we get to where we normally would have run out of fuel,
Frameshift drive
then we can check, basically, and see if I can now get to one along the route that is refuelable. Does that make sense? I'll probably try and explain it a little better when I actually pull up the galaxy map to make our new route, but I hope that kind of makes sense. Probably doesn't, but it's kind of one of those, the players out there that get it probably already would have thought of that, and then the ones that wouldn't probably don't play that much to understand it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm babbling now. Wow, that's a red star. That is a bright red star. All I want to know is in all of these in all this galaxy, all this space, is there actually a blue moon? That's what I want to know. So if we find one, we can say it was once in a blue moon. Actually, I probably already found one before and just didn't know it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Technically speaking, I suppose, here's a theory for you. If you're in a system with a whitish blue star, and the moon is like a whitish material, right? Then would that effectively make it a blue moon? Because you're going to get the blue light from the star on a whitish gray surface, like our moon. So would that effectively make it a blue moon then? Science. Not really, but... Alright, let's see what kind of route it gives me from this point. Am I on the right one? There's two are so close together. Gotta make sure I'm on the right one. I still think, too, I know it's going off of, like, I don't know, maybe it can't calculate that far out for memory purposes, but I still want to be able to just set Sagittarius A as, like, the point to go check, or the end destination, and just have it be like, that's your route, you know. It depresses me that you can't do that. Okay, so we're back on track there. We've got another endpoint as our destination. Oh, that's right. I was going to explain that, what I was talking about more, just in case anybody didn't get it. So what I was talking about was, like, for this, our current destination where we run out of fuel is refuelable, so I don't really have to worry about it.
Disengaged.
But if we run across a situation where it's not, then I would basically just look around here and be like, okay, what's the closest scoopable star, like over here, or here, rather, and bookmark that, keep it in mind, but then along your route you refuel and you don't break this line, so that by the time you get to the last point, you can see if you've refueled enough to reach another one that's refuelable, was kind of what I was getting at. Hope that makes sense now.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a memory limitation or something, or just from gameplay it couldn't calculate that far out or something, but I really do think it would be cool just to be able to like plot a course to the center of the galaxy and we'll just see how many jumps it takes, you know, rather than trying to kind of have to add it up over time or something. Just be able to look at it. It's like, it'll take 1,500 jumps, you know. It's like, oh my gosh. But that would be kind of cool, I think. I think that would be a lot easier than trying to plan out route by route at like 1,000 light years at a time. I think that would be kind of cool. Stop it. You're throwing off my fuel calculations.
Disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
What do we actually have? 25, yeah, so we're back up to 25 jumps again, so we're not probably going to be able to make it to the end. That was a route calculation miscalculation right there. Probably be the name of the episode.
Engage.
Though, I wonder if it would just be a route miscalculation. If it was a miscalculation in your calculations, does it make it a calculation miscalculation? I wonder. I'll probably name it that just because it's funny, but...
Frameshift drive charging.
But I don't know. I do really like that the closer we've gotten to the core, the more dense the stars have gotten. I really like that. It makes it feel so much more realistic that the nebulas over there get closer and you start seeing them in more detail. The closer you are to stars and stuff, it's like it all kind of shows up and everything's like brighter around you. I can't wait to get really into the core and just look around and there's just going to be like bright orbs all over the place. Can't wait. It'll be cool. I really do wish my ship was a little faster though. Like, can I do like 60 light year jumps at a time or 100 or something? Because this is taking forever. And I'm actually going at like a really fast pace in terms of not really scanning much. Speaking of which, I don't know if I actually scan that system. Whoops. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm not stopping and scanning all the stars anymore. I'm not scanning the planets. I'm just like, honk, leave, you know. So I'm actually moving pretty quick. And I'm still just like, I'm never gonna get there. I do think sometime, possibly this week or something, maybe. I'm no promises, so don't expect this to happen. This is just me getting a little frustrated with the progress at this point. I may try and at some point sit down and take time to just do some off-camera grind, basically, and just get places. But, like I said, I've been so busy lately and stuff, on and off YouTube, behind the scenes and stuff like that. Some other projects that I've been working on and things of that nature have kept me very busy. So I really haven't had a whole lot of time to record in the first place, and then when I do, I don't have a lot of time to like pause and work off camera. Usually what you see is what you get with relative here and there change of pace. But anyways, you know, so don't hold your breath on that, but it is something I'm debating about doing. Maybe when I just like turn on Netflix or something in the evenings or something, I don't know, maybe I'll just do some extra jumps to get a little further, because I'm just so tired of not being closer. I'm like, come on, let's go. So, I don't know. If I knew of a faster way to get there, I would totally do it. If you have any suggestions, and that's what I was talking about, the whole FSD injections and things like that, like, if it really would benefit me that much and it'd be worth the effort trying to find a planet that has what you need to do it and everything, I would totally do it. I just don't know if it'd be worth it or not. Alright, let's top off our fuel, see how our route looks. I do think we're probably going to wrap things up here for this episode, because I don't think I can, I really don't think I can make it to where I need to go. Because I got 20 more jumps to do just for this route right here. Okay, so let's check, let's check the system map while we're refueling. How's that? Oh, well, this is an interesting system. Lot to see and explore here. you know, just saying. Actually, you know what? Since this is all that's here, I'm totally scanning the star. Because, you know, reasons. AKA, why not?
Fuel scooping complete.
And let's hope we don't, like, burn and die. Come on. Please scan. Glad our temperature isn't going up. Details scan. Oh, okay, cool. Yellow, orange. So, here's the big question. Is this something that we're the only ones that scanned, baby? Actually, I think we are. It doesn't say already found by. We found our first, like, our first star. How about them apples? Actually, I've probably found a lot by now, just because I've been off doing my own thing and I'm so far away from stuff. It really wouldn't surprise me to think that I've actually found other ones, but...
Disengaged.
So I take that back. Might change the title to something regarding that. I don't know. You'll just have to wait and find out. Although, if you're watching this, you already know, so I'll have to wait and find out, apparently. It's confusing. Go me. Anyways, let's check our map real quick now that we have fuel. Let's see where we go. Bah! Okay, so we're not quite... Actually... Oh, okay, never mind. It's because I have the filter on. I was like, actually, why am I not... So, this one... we're gonna try the theory that I was talking about, where basically along the way we'll just scoop on stars that we can, if... Okay, so there's one right here that we can scoop off of. So we'll probably try and top off here and then see if that pushes us... Well, actually, we can check because we have the route. So I don't think that's going to push us enough to... Yeah, no. Because our next scoopable star is way out here. So we're going to have to reroute again, probably. We'll probably have to route to this point and then go from there. But yeah, so I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.